Welcome to The Explainer. Look, let's just dive right into this. If you're wanting to jump into the high-stakes, multi-billion-dollar tax prep industry, you can't just buy some off-the-shelf software, hang an open for business sign on your front door, and start charging people money. The IRS actually requires you to have what is literally a license to operate. So in today's Explainer, we are breaking down exactly what credentials you need to lock down so you can stay fully compliant, build a rock-solid foundation for your business, and honestly, avoid those massive rookie fines that take down unprepared preparers every single year. Here's a quick look at our roadmap for today. First, we'll decode the IRS alphabet soup. Second, your IRS badge, the PTIN. Third, e-filing power, the EFIN. Fourth, the due diligence golden rule. And fifth, beware the ghost preparer. Mastering these 5 concepts is going to give you the keys to a completely legal, highly ethical tax business. All right, Section 1, the IRS alphabet soup. As I mentioned, this professional tax world requires some very specific credentials before you even think about touching a client's paperwork. Now, notice how your core IRS responsibilities are basically split into 2 undeniable buckets. On one side, we have the PTN, which is strictly for personal use to actually prepare the returns. And on the other side, we've got the EFIN, which is for your business to transmit those returns over to the government. Think of it like this. The PTN is your personal detective badge to investigate and prepare the file, and the EFIN is the massive satellite dish you use to beam that file securely back to headquarters. You absolutely need both to function, but they do completely different jobs. Moving on to Section 2, your IRS badge, the PTN. This is the very first credential every single professional needs to get their foot in the door. So PTIN stands for Preparer Tax Identification Number. The IRS strictly requires this personal ID number for anyone who prepares or honestly even assists in preparing federal tax returns for compensation. The absolute key word here is personal. This number is attached directly to your identity. That means you can never, ever let a friend, a family member, or a newly hired employee prepare taxes under your PTIN. Every single person doing the actual work needs their own unique number, no exceptions. And hey, if you're stressing out about astronomical startup costs, check this out, $18.75. That is the incredibly low financial barrier to entry for the 2026 tax season fee. It takes maybe 15 minutes to apply online, and you get your number instantly. Just keep in mind, it's essentially an annual subscription. You've got to renew it every single year, usually between mid-October and December 31st, just to stay active. But please, do not let that super low price tag fool you into taking this credential lightly. Listen to this. Protect your credentials like you protect your life savings. Your PTIN and EFIN are attached to your name and your business. If someone else messes up using your numbers, the IRS comes looking for you. That's the stark reality of this industry. If your credentials are used maliciously or incompetently by somebody else, it's going to be your name on that audit notice. You have to guard these numbers fiercely. Okay, Section 3, e-filing power, the EFIN. Now that your personal badge is sorted out, we move from the individual over to the business side of the equation. EFIN stands for Electronic Filing Identification Number. It's issued to approved authorized IRS e-file providers so they can legally transmit tax returns electronically. Remember our satellite dish analogy? Without this digital transmitter, you'd be forced to print out huge reams of paper and physically mail every single client's return to the IRS. That archaic process would delay your clients' hard-earned refunds by months. And in this highly competitive industry, speed and accuracy are literally everything. But here's the shocker, guys. 45 days. Unlike the PTN, which you get instantly, applying for your e-fine is free, sure, but it can take up to a month and a half to get approved. Why the massive holdup? Well, the IRS requires you to submit fingerprints and undergo a really comprehensive background check through their e-services portal. If you wait until January to apply for this, you're going to be sitting on your hands missing the entire first half of tax season. You absolutely must get this done early in the fall. To make this completely foolproof, let's walk through a concrete timeline step by step so you know exactly what to do. Step 1. Go to irs.gov and create your secure account using ID.me. Step 2. Pay the small fee and get your P10 instantly online. Step 3. Apply for your EFIN via e-services and submit your required fingerprints. And finally, Step 4. Wait up to 45 days for approval. If you follow this exact order, you'll be fully equipped and ready to file before the season even kicks off. Now, some partner networks do allow you to operate under an umbrella EFIN while you wait, but getting your own, that's the ultimate goal for true independence. Moving right along, Section 4, the due diligence golden rule. Now that you have the tools, you really need to understand the rules. The absolute star of the show here is Form 8867. This represents the IRS due diligence requirement. Look, the IRS does not play around when it comes to claiming major refundable credits for your clients, especially things like the Earned Income Tax Credit or the Child Tax Credit. Because these credits result in such large payouts, they are highly scrutinized. You have to fill out Form 8867 for every single applicable return to mathematically and legally prove that you did your homework. So, what exactly does that homework look like in the real world? It means you must ask the tough questions, document the client's answers, keep really thorough records, and never, ever practice what's called willful blindness. Let me give you a quick example. If a client comes to you claiming they have 3 kids, they work a grueling 60-hour week, but they report 0 childcare expenses, you kind of have to ask, who is watching those kids? You cannot just nod your head, smile, and blindly type numbers into your software. Turning a blind eye to obvious inconsistencies like that will result in massive penalties falling squarely on you.
Which brings us to Section 5, Beware the Ghost Preparer. We really need to take a serious tone here for a second, because this is the absolute worst mistake you can make in this business.
So, you might be wondering, what exactly is a ghost preparer? It sounds like some spooky campfire story for accountants, right? But trust me, they are very real, and they are basically considered the outlaws of the tax prep world. Let's define this. A ghost preparer is someone who charges a fee to prepare a tax return but illegally refuses to sign that return with their PIN. They basically just print out the forms, hand them back to the client, and tell the client to mail it in as if they did it themselves. Let me be perfectly clear on this. This is entirely illegal. The IRS actively hunts for these individuals. It violates the absolute core foundational rule of this industry, which is that you must always take responsibility and sign your work. Let's quickly recap the ultimate rookie mistakes you need to avoid so you can stay entirely off the IRS radar. Number 1, becoming a ghost preparer. Just never do it. Always sign your work with your PTIN. Number 2, waiting until January to apply for an EFIN. Remember that 45-day wait? Get that background check started in the fall. And number 3, taking suspicious clients purely at their word. You have a legal duty to ask the tough questions and avoid willful blindness. So, I want to leave you with this final, somewhat provocative thoughts. Will willful blindness and a lack of preparation cost you your business before it even gets off the ground? Or are you ready to step up and make it official? The path is crystal clear. Go straight to irs.gov, secure that PTN, start your background check for your EFIN, and begin your professional journey the exact right way. Thanks so much for joining me on this explainer. Stay compliant out there, and I'll catch you on the next one.